What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Watchtower podcast, the non-Jehovah's Witness Watchtower podcast. Glad you guys could be here. This is episode 109. We're at 109, Demons with Crayons. Now, I know this might be confusing because I know some of you are probably thinking, why did you title something after my own kid? Haha, joke. Laugh it up. Okay. I'm not sure if anybody found that funny, but no. Honestly, what this is going to be about is we're going to be talking about the demons behind all the colors that are coming out about in June, the pride stuff and everything with that. So these are the demons behind the colors because they like to hide their pride behind the colors like that. So we're going to be talking about specifically breaking down some, not all, because we would be here forever, and I would need a lot more time to find all of that. But we're going to break down some of the organizations who are behind this push with the with all the companies and their pride stuff, like Target and Bud Light and Kohl's and North Face. You go down the list. Everybody has seen all these companies that are going into all of this stuff. We're going to break down some of them. And so it's going to be a deep dive. I hope some of you brought some scuba gear. Snorkel gear is not going to be enough for this because we're going deep. So if you brought snorkel gear, I apologize. You're going to need something a little bit more for depth. But that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I do have one thing to talk about beforehand, which is which I think we need to know about that I didn't want to put off till Tuesday. I think we need to talk about it now. But before we do that, I want to get you guys involved because I think it is important to get the family involved in here. And my word, you guys are just talking it up. Okay, let's see here. I'm just going to pick a random place. I'm going to start here. How's it going, Betty Lou? Betty Lou is here. Good to see you, Betty Lou. Looks like we've got Okie Girl as well. Good to see you, Okie Girl. Jasmine, not going to try and pronounce that last name. No offense. I just can't pronounce things. I'm not going to try. Good to see you, Jasmine. Glad you're here. Looks like Peach is here as well. Good to see you, Peach. We've got Sherry. How's it going, Sherry? Annette P is here as well. Good to see Annette. We've got Misha, Tater, and Toby. Girl and her pups. And then we've got Leslie Jacobs. Good to see you. Barbara R is here. Looks like we got Pook. What's going on, Pook? Good to see you. Just Vicky is here. Good to see you. And then we've got some Toolbox. Carly is here. And we've got Not of This World. Whoop, whoop. That's right. Let's see here. What do we got? We got Homeless Jax. Good to see you. Patter is here as well. We've got Jackie. Again, don't take offense. Not going to try and pronounce the last name. We've got Sally is here as well. Good to see you, Sally. Michael as well. We've got Val Halloran as well. Good to see you guys. Hannelore as well. So, all right. Good to see you guys. I can't get to all of you. So if I didn't pick you, I apologize. It's not that I don't like you. It's just there's just too many to to mention. So glad you guys are all here on this Saturday night before we've got church tomorrow, Sunday. Hopefully, as much as I love church, hopefully the Lord takes us out of here before then. But either way, glad you guys are here. So this is what we're going to do. This is what we always do Tuesdays and Saturdays is we take a look at some of the signs and events and everything going on that pertains to Bible prophecy. And I mean, this is what we do, our blessed hope. We are sitting here watching and waiting. And I don't know about you guys. I know some of you are more patient than I am, but I'm very impatient. I'm just going to say it. I'm impatient. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to be with the Lord. But I know there's still souls out there that need saving. So that's why we do this. Send the warning out, get people to Jesus and Jesus to people, as Pastor JD would say. So, all right, now that we've got that, we've just got ourselves a little bit of housekeeping to take care
of. Housekeeping?
No, thank you. Sleeping.
Housekeeping?
All right, so some housekeeping we've got going on here. Usual spiel. If you guys can, like, share, subscribe. Get this out to everybody that you can, your dog, your milkman, the flower lady, whoever, just like, share, subscribe. It helps get it out to people. It's not about views. It's not about butts and seats, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus and Jesus to people, like I said earlier. This is what it's about, and that helps do that. So I would appreciate if you guys could do that. Also, make sure you follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. We just discovered that, but not last week, but the week before, when I disappeared off YouTube, and I got a whole bunch of people asking, where did I go? Well, I got kicked off, and I was on Rumble and Telegram. So you guys make sure you follow me there. And if I disappear off YouTube without an announcement of any kind, it's probably because I got hit by YouTube again, and I will be on Rumble. So make sure you do that. And then a couple of announcements, what we got coming up this week as far as where I'll be. We got our usual shows, of course, but on Tuesday, noon Central, I will be on with Vindog. Vindog has asked me to join him again on Tuesday. So I will be joining Vindog. I have absolutely no idea what we're going to be talking about, but it's always a good time with Vin. So make sure you guys go over there. And then on Friday, I was invited to be on Life Clips. So I will be on Life Clips. We're going to be talking about the NAR Church, the Charismatic Church, music, my background on how I got involved, how I got out of it, all of that stuff. So I will be on with Life Clips on Friday. I think that's 6 p.m. Central. I think. Don't quote me on that. I will let you guys know for sure on Tuesday when that is. Either way, yeah, I'll be there. So follow me on Telegram. I'll post those links when the time comes and all that jazz. So that's all I got for housekeeping. So, and then I just want to address a couple things. Every once in a while I have to do this, but I just want to address a couple things. First thing, there has been a couple of people leaving comments on my videos. If you guys know me, I'm pretty lax on comments. If you disagree, that's fine. If you want to make fun of me and call me stupid, that's fine. I don't care. But the one thing I don't put up with is people who get into my chat and try to drive other commenters into false teachings and false doctrines. And I've had a few commenters going all over my chat, trying to play the gotcha game, trying to discredit me and drive people into false teachings and stuff like that. So I've been pretty lax on that. Usually I'll send a warning and whatnot, but because it's getting kind of ridiculous, there's going to be no more warnings. The moment I see it, you're just going to be banned from leaving comments on my videos. I've had to ban like 4 people in the past 2 weeks. And so I'm just letting you guys know there's going to be no more warnings. The moment you start doing that, you're gone. That's just how it's going to have to be. I try to be nice, but some people just got to ruin it. So, like I said, I don't care if you make fun of me and disagree with what I say. That's fine. I don't care. But it's when you start throwing false teachings out, then I'm not cool with that. So just a heads up on that. Also, 2 more things. I've addressed this multiple times, but I continue to get emails about it. So I'm just going to go ahead and address it again. As far as this Tim Cohen, Antichrist with a cup of tea, where this is getting passed around that King Charles is the Antichrist and all that stuff. He's not the Antichrist, guys. I continue to get emails asking, and it's like, yeah, if you're going to ask me questions on emails and stuff, that's fine. That's fine. But the reason why I'm kind of irritated about this is not because of anybody asking me. I'm irritated at this guy for pushing this out there because people are getting super confused. People are getting super distracted. And that right there is a sign that this is just a garbage rumor that he threw out there. And it's all for clicks and money. You know how much money he's made off of that book and his appearances? You can also tell with the guy when he's appeared with Janie Duvall, which I've also been asked about her. Janie Duvall is somebody you guys need to stay away from. She was hooked up with a heretic, I mean blatant heretic, Sid Roth and his Supernatural TV show for like 23 years. And if you ever go to her YouTube channel, the stuff that she talks about is just, it's garbage. I'll just be straight up and honest. It's garbage. And he's appeared with her and she's pushing the same thing too. So King Charles is not the Antichrist. We know the Antichrist has got to be somebody who's going to be young enough because he's going to be doing a lot of traveling and a lot of work. He's just not going to be sitting there. King Charles is old. Also, nobody likes the guy. Nobody. And the Antichrist is going to be somebody that a lot of people are going to adore. So there's more to it, but I'm not going to get into it. Don't fall for it. that's my opinion. So if you're asking about my opinion on that, he's not it. So just throwing it out there. And stay away from Tim Cohen and Janie Duvall. Seriously, they're leading people the wrong direction. And then the last thing, um, this is, I'm getting a lot of comments and emails regarding my last video about the mark of the beast. A lot of people are saying, well, the Bible says, well, this version of the Bible says in, this version of the Bible says on. I believe this version. I believe that version. I'm not quite sure what you're arguing because my point was the word mark, and I went to the Greek of the word mark, and we talked about that, which is both in and on. So I'm not quite sure what the argument is there. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. If you look up the word mark in Greek, it means both in and on. And so that's that. So I just wanted to address that because I'm getting a lot of emails and comments about that saying that I'm wrong because their version says this. I'm not going off of the word in and on in the book, whatever version that you're reading. I'm going off of the word mark in the Greek. So different argument, still means what you're arguing as well. So I don't know. Just thought I'd go ahead and answer that and all that. So, all right, we're done with that. We're going to go ahead and get in this episode. That's enough of that stuff. Okay, before we get into the demons with the crayons, we're going to address this one thing coming from the WHO. The WHO? And this. So let's see here. A member of the WHO has proposed running a simulation exercise before implementing the pandemic treaty and their international health regulation amendments. This comes from a representative for the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board, because they always have to have ridiculously long names, or the GPMB. And this proposal was made at the recent World Health Assembly to ensure preparedness and the effectiveness of it. I've got a video of this proposal right here. This is definitely worth paying attention to. Check this out.
The GPMB is closely monitoring progress in these critically important reforms and processes to strengthen prevention, preparedness, and response to pandemics. It is imperative that they succeed, and we have proposed 3 tests of these reforms, which we published in our manifesto for preparedness earlier this year, that they are sufficiently positively powered, that they will deliver equity and coherence, and do they have robust mechanisms for monitoring and accountability embedded in them. But we have an additional proposal to ensure their success. We feel very strongly that we cannot wait for the next emergency to find out how well the Pandemic Accord and the IHR amendments will work. We need to know now. We therefore suggest that member states, together with other key stakeholders, carry out a simulation exercise based on the draft accord and the draft IHR amendments later this year, before they are finalized and adopted. It can provide assurance of their effectiveness, help us all as a global community to identify any remaining gaps, and resolve any outstanding areas of disagreement. A simulation exercise beforehand and robust monitoring and accountability following their adoption are 2 ways you can ensure these important instruments fulfill their potential and that we are ready for the next pandemic. We plead with you to give this proposal your consideration. Thank you.
All right. So this is I think this is very important to pay attention to because she is claiming the simulation would ensure the success of both the treaty and the amendments. And something we like to pay attention to, I got to be careful how I word this just in case. They always like to do live practice, if you catch my drift. They always like to tell us what they're going to do, and they like to do live practice. We discovered that with Event 201. And other ones we're not going to get into a giant list because we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But they always like to do that. And so if this exercise was to take place, it would happen in the next year. That's why this is important, as the instruments of the treaty and the amendments are supposed to be adopted May of 2024. So she's talking about within the next year. So this is going to get interesting. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. One of them that I'm watching right now is the bird flu. It's jumping everywhere and it's getting into people all over the place, and that's definitely something to be watching for. The amendments apply to these amendments will apply to 196 countries, and the treaty would apply to 194 member states, and both are legally binding under international law. So the question is something coming in the next year as far as this would go? So this is something to pay attention to. This was just proposed at the recent health assembly. So be paying attention, guys. Be paying attention. Something might be coming as far as that goes. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Didn't want to wait on that. Just wanted to get it out now to let everybody know and to be watching for maybe something coming down the pike as far as that goes. All right. Here we go. Everybody get your scuba gear on. Make sure you got enough oxygen because we're going to be diving deep, and I've got a lot of stuff to show you, and we're going to be talking, not all, like I said, because we'd be here forever, but we're going to be talking about a few groups that are leading these companies to do what they're doing. And I'm sure you've heard some of the jingles and the jangles and the terms and all that stuff, and we're going to kind of bring it all together and reveal what's going on. So let's go here. As we know, it is June, lovely June, and with that comes the blasting of the alphabet agenda everywhere. It's kind of interesting. I will say that I have noticed some of the social media icons for these companies. They put up their alphabet logo for like a day and then took it down. It's kind of interesting. Just I'm curious to see what that's about and where that's going. But we've already seen several companies being pointed out for the alphabet indoctrination. Again, you can go down the list of all the things all the things you've seen: Target, Bud Light, Kohl's. I think it's North Face. That's one of them. A whole bunch of them. Lego is doing it. A whole bunch of them out there. But Target and Bud Light being the main ones. But what I want to do is I want to show you a few organizations behind the scenes that are the reason why these alphabets, why they're making these alphabet moves. And so we're going to go through a few of them. And our first stop is going to be the Human Rights Campaign. This is probably the one that pretty much everybody knows about. But we're going to start here. And their front page is lovely. It's very welcoming for all people. Equality for all, with people holding up their abortion is healthcare signs and stand with black women and I will aid and abet abortion and all that stuff. Isn't that lovely? But if we look at it, the Human Rights Campaign envisions a world where every member of the alphabet family has the freedom to live their truth without fear and with equality under the law. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we're starting here. The HRC, if you guys don't know, was established in 1980 by Steve Endine, mainly as a fund raising money for pro-alphabet congressional candidates. But it was switched to being much more, and that was in 1991 or 92. I can't remember, or 1995, my bad. 1995, that's when they adopted that equal sign logo. They started changing what they were involved with and all that stuff. And just a little note, Endine, the guy who created the HRC, he died at the age of 44, and you guessed it, due to AIDS. So it's just, that's God's way of saying this ain't natural. It's an unnatural disease built for people who practice an unnatural lifestyle. That's just how it goes, and it kills people at the very young age of 44. It's horrific. So if we keep going into the HRC, we will discover some interesting things. So if we go to their About page, you can see right here, I got a historical picture, but leading the fight for alphabet rights. And it says right there, we've spent 40 years creating the most powerful movement for equality for our country has ever seen. Equality. Yeah, that's a wonderful word that I'm honestly getting sick and tired of. But if we go a little bit further, it says our goal is to ensure that all alphabet people, and particularly those of us who are trans, people of color, and HIV, because you got to throw that in there, are heeded as full and are treated as full and equal citizens within our movement across the country and around the world. Okay. If we keep going, where did I put it? Hold on. I lost a slide. Where'd it go? I seem to have accidentally deleted a slide that I needed, and it is gone. So we're just going to have to go ahead and skip that. It's really not that important, so it's no big deal. But we're going to go ahead and head over to the children section, because yes, they've got a children section on here. So it's called the All Children, All Families program. This thing is, you're starting to see more of the indoctrination of things as it goes. And this is a program of the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, promotes alphabet inclusive politics and affirming practices among child welfare agencies. So this is where we're seeing, again, you're going to see this theme where it's mainly a focus on kids. It's all about getting the kids, because this isn't about, raising kids up to be tolerant of things. No, this is about grooming children. This is about getting them on board and indoctrinating them with this lifestyle, because they want them to have this lifestyle. Now, the people who are pulling all these strings, one of them being the HRC here, is about, there's different reasons why they want this agenda. We can go down the list. One of them would probably get me kicked off YouTube, so we're not. But there's multiple reasons why they're doing this, but the main one is spiritual. It's always spiritual. They're trying to disrupt God's order, the nuclear patriarchal family. That's just how it goes. And if we keep going, it says the report highlights 119 child welfare agencies across the country that have partnered with the Human Rights Campaign Foundation's All Children, All Family program to improve the services they provide to Alphabet community, including children in foster care and prospective foster and adoptive parents. If you guys don't know, there's a lot of Alphabet couples adopting kids through surrogate mothers. It's not good. These organizations serve more than 1 million clients annually in 35 states and employ more than 24,000 people. It's absolutely sickening. And if we want to take a look at just how important they are, quote unquote, important they are to this agenda and the money that they have, here's just a quick picture of what their headquarters looks like. This is not a small little group. This is not a fringe group. This is somebody this is a group that has some serious pull. This is the HRC Foundation's building that is actually set up in the heart of Washington, D.C. So, as you can see, just right off the bat, we're already getting a general idea of what's going on. This is about, they're in the pockets of candidates. They're helping with candidates and politics and all that stuff. We see their main focus is on kids and getting kids into positions of being groomed and being indoctrinated and all this stuff. And you can see they have an important position in Washington with their very large building with a lot of money. So we're seeing a huge display as far as what's going on with the HRC. So this is just one of the groups, guys. We've got multiple to go. Now, that's the Human Rights Campaign, but if we look at their foundation, we're going to take a look at what they got going on with this. So let's take a look at some of this. Yeah, we can see that there's a lot more involvement rather than just stickers, flags, and marches. So if we take a look at this, the top three are interesting. We're going to go from right to left on this. 10 million elementary schools. Again, here's your focus on kids. Our Welcoming Schools program is the only anti-bias-based bullying prevention program in the nation, providing alphabet-specific training and resources through an intersectional lens. Oh, that's great. 80 plus countries. So they've got their reach in 80 plus countries. And then right here, 15 million plus worker protections. Through our Corporate Equality Index, we have changed the landscape for Alphabet workers from trans-inclusive healthcare to non-discrimination protections in the U.S. and beyond. So we're getting again, we've got the kids, we got a massive reach, but the workers, this is where we're starting to get into the corporates, the company type of stuff. And a lot of this comes through the HRC's CEI program. Now, I've talked about this before, but I want to bring this up again because this is important. I know a lot of people are talking about DEI, which is the diversity, equity, inclusiveness, equality, inclusiveness thing. But this is the CEI, which is a tool used for ESG. CEI is the Corporate Equality Index. This system is built to plug into the ESG scoring system, giving investors a rating system on companies regarding the social aspect of ESG, which is environmental, social governance. It's basically a social credit score system on all of those things for each company. Now, if you don't know how sorry, if you don't know how ESG works, I've got a video of a quick rundown where this guy will explain it very, very good. Check this out.
Do better to define metrics that meet the sustainable development goals for somebody who's used to us reporting on financial metrics. So we got the big four to work together. They took all the metrics that are out there. They consolidated those metrics along the SDG platforms, people, planet, prosperity, principles of governance, 4 or 5 metrics in each. Then, and these are metrics people can report on. If you look in our annual report, you can see our report right there. They can sit there and say these companies are above the bar. The idea here is, if you said company has to be a top, there's only going to be one, and all the money goes to one company. But the idea, if you had 10 companies in the industry and the bar was X, it appears that it's good enough, and 8 of them are above it, the money will shift away from the other 2. And so it'll self-police itself, even if it doesn't become part of the official metrics, because the investors are now trying to substantiate how they are investing consistent with ESG principles, because the people who give them the money want them to do that.
Yeah.
That's what what everybody forgets about all this is it gets caught up in who's making the decision, but it's their clients telling them you have to do this, and it's our clients telling us you have to do this, especially around the environment and becoming more prevalent around human capital.
All right. So basically how he's explaining it is these companies are being forced into doing these different agendas in order to keep themselves above the investor line. Now, if they do not follow the rules, if they do not play the games, they do not implement these things that they're being told to, they will fall underneath that bar, like he was talking about. How there's a bar that you have to sit your company above. And if you get underneath that, you're going to see investors pulling out because it's going to start affecting their ESG score as well, and it's going to start pushing them towards the bar. So it's like a self-policing, just like you said, self-policing system where both the companies and the investors are required to play their parts, to do their rules in order to stay above that bar and continue to make the money. This is why I always talk about the go woke, go broke is actually a lie. They don't care about our money. They don't care about that. They want the investors' money. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So the CEI, now that we know we've got the ESG, how it works, they've got their rules and everything like that, the CEI is one of the tools that grades these companies to make sure that they are worthy of ESG investment, making the big dollars from the elites. So if we take a look at their CEI scoring, we'll get an idea of how this works. So we're going to take a look here. We're not going to go through everything. I just want to point out a few things. Number 1, workforce protections. You get 5 points for this. Policy includes sexual orientation and gender identity or expression for all operations. So this is how this works. It's just your basic, like a monopoly scoring type of system. And so you got workforce protections there. Number 2, inclusive benefits. This is 50 points possible. And to secure full credit or benefits criteria, each benefit must be available to all benefits eligible. That is a lot of benefits in one word, in one sentence. Benefits eligible U.S. employees in areas where more than one health insurance plan is available. At least one inclusive plan must be available. Now, if we go down, it's ridiculous. Some of these points include equivalency in spousal and domestic partner family foundation benefits, regardless of sex. This is the promotion of alphabet families. Basically, we know God's order is man and woman is marriage, but they're trying to degrade that. They're trying to ruin that by saying, oh, man and a woman is equal in that. It's not, but you get points for saying that it is. And then down there, equal health coverage for SOUP individuals without exclusion for medically necessary care. 25 points. That's a whopper. We keep going down. like I said, we're not going to cover everything because we'll be here forever. Number 3, supporting an inclusive culture. You get 25 points for that. Training, accountability, making sure supervisors go and make their supervisors and managers are getting well trained in how to do all this stuff, pronouns and all this. It's just absolute garbage. I will say though, they're the second to the bottom. Integration of intersectionality and professional development, skills-based or other training required. This is where you're starting to see people who are more qualified for a job. They're not getting their job because they need to fill the qualification of diversity, whether that's through race or sexual orientation. So it's not merit-based. It's not whoever actually is best fit for the job. It's all about meeting the diversity recommendation. But of course, it doesn't matter if your company suffers because you hired a person who's not fit for the job, because you're going to get paid a lot of money for just doing it. If we keep going, this is still a part of number 3. We see one alphabet data collection effort, and then there's SOUP inclusion best practices. It's just stuff like gender neutral dress code and bathrooms and oh my gosh. Just leave that up there for a minute. Kind of take a look. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Moving on. All right, right here. Number 4, corporate social responsibility. 20 points possible. So we take a look at this. I want to point out 2 of them. Marketing or advertising to Alphabet consumers, e.g. advertising with Alphabet content, advertising in Alphabet media, or sponsoring Alphabet organizations and events. This is what we're seeing with the Target. This is what we're seeing with the Bud Light. This is what we're seeing with the North Face. This is what we're seeing with the Lego. This is right here. They're trying to make their points, 20 points possible. And then you also see philanthropy, topic, I can't say it, support for at least one Alphabet organization or event, financial or kind of pro bono support. So you're seeing donations to these groups, and you're seeing advertisements for and with Alphabet stuff. It's starting to make sense now. They're making points for their ESG via this CEI scoring system right here. If we keep going with the scoring, this is important. Negative, responsible citizenship. You get negative 25 points. Employers will have 25 points deducted from their score for a large-scale official or public anti-Alphabet blemish on their recent records. So if they come out and it's anti-Alphabet in any type of way, they will dock points. And it also says directing corporate charitable contributions to organizations whose primary mission includes advocacy against Alphabet equality. So if these people are actively supporting groups that go against the Alphabet agenda, you will also get docked points. Hang on to these because we're going to bring something up in just a second. We're going to finish off the scoring real quick, but we're going to bring something up. Now, if we take a look here, this is the last one here. Points allocation. Businesses are rated on a scale from 0 to 100 with a certain number of points awarded for meeting each criterion. The HRC Foundation will continue to award partial credit to employers that have satisfied a portion of their certain criterion. So it's basically a rating scale of 0 to 100. And you got to hit a certain amount in order to make the points. And you add that to your climate, you add that to your policy stuff, and you're getting your ESG score on it. So let's get back here, though, real quick. Employers will have 25 points deducted from their score for a large-scale official or public anti-Alphabet blemish on their recent records, and directing corporate charitable contributions to organizations whose primary mission includes advocacy, there we go, against Alphabet equality. This is important. I've been asked several times about this. This is something I've been watching for years. That's right, years. This is not anything new, but this is the Chick-fil-A stuff, because I know a lot of people are asking, oh, they just went woke. They've been woke. They have been woke for a very long time. They've just done it silently and subtly, and you didn't know it. So this is going back to 2019. They were doing it earlier, but I couldn't find what I was looking for, so I'm just going to stick with this. This goes back to 2019. Chick-fil-A stopped their contributions, their donations to not only the Salvation Army, but the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They started pulling back from Christian slash religious, I'm going to call Salvation Army religious, not necessarily Christian, organizations. Because, like we were talking about with the CEI, if you are actively donating to groups who are against Alphabet, Salvation Army doesn't really care about that, but Christian Athletes kind of does. It will affect your CEI score. You'll also notice they started, the chain also named 3 specific organizations that they'll be donating to, one being Covenant House. Why this is important, because if we take a look at Covenant House, this was also in 2019. Covenant House is an organization that helps facilitate Drag Queen Story Hour. So if you look at it, Chick-fil-A Foundation will be giving money to Covenant House. While its overall objective is virtuous, Covenant House New York affiliate is listed as one of the community partners that has provided community space for hosting Drag Queen Story Hours. This is in 2019, guys. So this is not anything new. I went to the Drag Queen Story Hour New York City page, went through, found the list of community spaces, and sure enough, Covenant House New York right there. I also marked off a couple of churches that are also housing Drag Queen Story Hour as well. So this is nothing new with Chick-fil-A. It's been going on for longer than 2019. Like I said, I couldn't find what I was trying to find. But I remember seeing something, this was like back in 2016, that they were pulling out of Christian organizations and donating to more than Covenant House. They were donating to a couple other ones that are actually pro-abortion and pro-alphabet marriage. So Chick-fil-A has not been Jesus chicken for a while. Just going to say. And it has to do with the CEI, the ESG, playing ball with the elite investors, because it's all about money. Follow the money. You can't serve 2 gods, everybody. Money is a god. The love of money is the root of all evil. Not money itself, but the love of it. And when you start making moves like that, that's the love of money showing its head. So, when you have all that, we just talked about Chick-fil-A and the CEI scoring. The CEI is one tool that is being used to manipulate and force a company. Keep in mind, CEI is just for the alphabet stuff. They've got tools for everything else. Your race stuff, your the school stuff, CRT, Common Core, all that stuff. Then you get into the climate stuff. You get into the governance and the policy and who you're supporting for candidates and all that stuff. It goes deeper. So this is just one of the tools that is being used to manipulate and force a company like Target or Bud Light to play ball. Now, speaking of Bud Light, they do not care about the boycott. This is something that I've said right off the bat when all this Mulvaney soup stuff came out about Bud Light. They don't care. I know the thing out there, well, their stocks are falling and people aren't buying their stuff, and there's pictures of all, just all the beer that's missing, but Bud Light is sitting that they don't care. They just don't care. I know that, that may be a rude awakening for some people that they don't. And they're proving that they don't care because they care only about their elite investors. And if we take a look at their recent donation, you'll see that they really just don't care. Bud Light and the NGLCC, which is the National Alphabet Chamber of Commerce, continue to empower Alphabet-owned small businesses across America. If we take a look at their donation, we see right there at the top, in partnership with the NGLCC, the #1 best-selling beer brand in the industry, will support Alphabet business owners of color through, so this is a double whammy right here for social justice of color, through the NGLCC's Communities of Color Initiative. If we take a look at this is May 30th of this year. They don't care about the boycott, guys. Today, Bud Light and the National Alphabet Chamber of Commerce, the exclusive certifying body for Alphabet-owned businesses, announced they are extending their partnership to continue supporting economic opportunities and advancement for Alphabet Americans and business owners across the country. If we jump down, you'll see just how much they donated. This year, Bud Light will donate $200,000 to the NGLCC in support of its Communities of Color initiative. This initiative is designed to support the growth and success of minority alphabet-owned businesses through certification, scholarships, and business development in effort to create equal opportunities for the economic advancement of small businesses in the alphabet community. So with all of this news about their stocks plummeting, nobody buying their stuff, they're losing all this money, Bud Light went and donated $200,000 to continue to pump the alphabet agenda. Why? Because they make more money from hitting their ESG goals through their investors than what they make through consumers buying their products. So again, they donated that $200,000 to it. They just, even though they had the backlash and the boycott and everything, this is why I keep saying the go woke, go broke is a lie. It doesn't matter when you've got these people who have these companies on a leash, because they're getting paid more and more and more, a lot more through this stuff than they are through us, from people buying it. And so if we take a look at just how much this ESG stuff actually pays out, we'll take a look at this. Why and how to build stronger corporate alphabet inclusion. Now, keep in mind, this is just for the alphabet stuff. You've also got money coming in from climate and environmental stuff. You've got it coming in through technology is one of them, policy, all this stuff. But we take a look at this. Consequently, ESG investors, along with the employees and consumers, are driving the demand for companies to implement sustainable diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's your DEI practices, and take stances on social issues such as alphabet rights and inclusion. Right here, though, it's growing, and it's going to grow a lot bigger. While these decisions feel morally grounded, they're also financially motivated. In fact, morally grounded, right? Morally bankrupt. In fact, sustainable investments received a $120 billion inflow in 2021. Sustainable investments received $120 billion inflow in 2021, more than doubling the $51.1 billion received by ESG funds in 2020. Look at the jump from one year to the next. And here we go, and setting another new annual record. And it appears the upward trend will continue. Global ESG assets are expected to hit 53 trillion, with a T, trillion, by 2025, according to Bloomberg, accounting for more than a third of the 140.5 trillion in total assets under management. You guys honestly think the sales through consumers is going to hit that number? It's not. It's not even going to come close. That's why they don't care about the boycotts or the consumers or anything like that. That's why they care about hitting ESG and getting paid, because the number is going to hit a ridiculous amount of money in just a matter of 2 years. You saw the jump from 2020 to 2021. It's just only going to continue to get bigger from there. So now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. Don't boycott. I know a lot of people they'll comment, they'll say, you're talking about this, and you're basically saying boycott's not worth it, so why would we do? That's not what I'm saying. You have to remember, even though that's going on, and we know that boycotts is not going to affect their pocketbook in any way. As Christians, as believers, we have to stand for righteousness. We have to. And so don't take this as me saying it doesn't matter if we support these groups or not. I'm not saying that. But for Christ followers, we shouldn't actively support them. And what I'm saying by that is it's going to be impossible to be able to buy anything from anybody without supporting these groups. It's just, that's where we're at now. That's the nature of it, unless you go to a local mom and pop shop that actually holds moral values. But in the situation of like where I live, there's like 2 grocery stores total. One's Walmart and one's HEB, and both are supporters of the alphabet stuff. They both are. Well, there's no other place for me to get food. So I have to go to, and I refuse to go to Walmart, just saying. So I have to go to HEB, but that's buying necessity. What we can do is avoid buying frivolous, worthless stuff that we don't need through these companies, giving them extra support. Try and find ways around it. Buy what you need from local places or places that actually stand on value or their values, moral values, and only buy what you absolutely have to from these companies. Because like I said, there's no way to avoid them entirely. There's just, unless you're Amish, which the Amish lifestyle, not the belief system, but the Amish lifestyle is looking pretty good, honestly, just saying. But yeah, we have to stand for righteousness. So don't take it, but when I'm talking about it's all this go woke, go broke is a lie, and I'm going through all this stuff, I'm not saying just go ahead and support these groups. I'm not. But what I'm giving you the truth of what's really going on. But either way, we still have to stand for righteousness on it. So I just want to clarify that. Just want to clarify that, put it out there. We still have Christ that we have to represent. We do, even in silence. Remember, we do things not for public appeal, but in silence. So that's what we got to do. So we took a look at all that stuff. We're still on HRC. Let's take a look at the partners and the funding for the HRC. First up, they're platinum partners because they have tier lists from platinum to bronze. Let's take a look at their platinum partners. There shouldn't be any surprise by some of these. Amazon, American Airlines, Google, JP Morgan, Macy's. Yeah, a lot of that. There's your Diageo, Smirnoff. That's a lot of alcohol stuff right there. But no surprise on some of those. But one I want to point out is Accenture, because I've talked about Accenture before in the past. Accenture is a big one, and I will show why. Meet Julie Sweet. Julie Sweet is the CEO of Accenture, and Julie here, she serves on the WEF Board of Trustees. This is the big board of the WEF. She serves on the same board along with Larry Fink, Chrystia Friedland, and Al Gore, and even Klaus Schwab himself. So this is her company, Accenture, who is one of the platinum partners with the HRC. So that's a big one right there. You'll notice Accenture pop up in a lot of things as we continue to go through this. If we take a look at Platinum Partners 2, because there's two of them here, we got Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, Nationwide, Pfizer, oh wow, Target, there's Target, Walt Disney Company, of course, UPS. So there's your Platinum Partners with the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign. And Walt Disney Company, yeah, they're throwing their pride. Disney Plus has their Pride collection going on right there, so no surprise to be had on that. And yeah, so some of those companies probably doesn't surprise you at all with what we know about them, but we're going to keep going. We're going to take a look at their gold partners now. Let's take a look at their gold partners. CVS, Nike, we've got Lexus, Intel, Nordstrom, PayPal. Oh yeah, PayPal. United Airlines, Salesforce. You'll notice Salesforce involved with a lot of this stuff as too. But one of the big ones right there is, can't pronounce it, Deloitte. You know what I'm talking about. Top right. Deloitte is also no surprise because we've talked about them recently with how they are leading the WEF's GHEN, which is the Global Health Equity Network initiative, which is built to add health equality to the ESG scores. And of course, they would be involved with that. No surprise. Silver Partners. Who do we got here? BP. Yep. Caesars Entertainment, Capital One, Chevron, Citigroup, Cox, Goldman Sachs, Visa, U.S. Bank, United Health Group, MGM, MasterCard. No surprises there. These are just people who are fully involved. We take a look at the bronze partners. Let's see here. We got Bank of America, Best Buy, Boston Scientific, Cargill, Comcast, Dell, Hyatt, IBM, Johnson & Johnson. No shock there. Lumen, Medtronic, PepsiCo, PNC, Ross, Shell, Starbucks, T-Mobile. You'll see T-Mobile pop up again a little bit later. Whirlpool, Hershey. Hershey's up there too. Why do I point out Hershey? Well, because they're going full blown with this. This is in Canada. Check this guys out.
My name is Faye Johnstone. I'm the executive director of Wisdom to Action. We can create a world where everyone is able to live in public space as their honest and authentic selves. See the women changing how we see the future at Hershey's Canada.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago, and they had that going out as well. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great to see? So no surprise that Hershey is a part of their initiative with that. So now let's take a look at who funds, because we know those are their partners and they help with it too, but we got to look at funding and donors, because this is always follow the money. We always got to follow the money. So let's take a look at some of the big funders of the HRC. Oh, check it out. There's George Soros's Open Society Foundations. That's George Soros's company, guys. HRC Foundation is grateful to George Soros. I'm just going to put it there. Fred P. Hochberg and the Heyday Foundation. MetLife Foundation. No surprise there. Oh, and there's Disney again. Walt Disney Corporation for their support of our global programs. They are big on grants. But we also got to take a look at some of the donations, the donors for this group here. We're not going to go through the list, but I highlighted a few of them. Got Bank of America, Coca-Cola Foundation. You'll see them pop up again later. Google, JP Morgan Chase, Open Society. There's George Soros again. PepsiCo Foundation, Pfizer, Rockefeller Foundation is there. Twitter is there too. There's Twitter. Wonder if Elon's going to pull out of that. Probably not. Vanguard. Yeah, that's right. There's your Vanguard. There's your BlackRock, and there's your State Street. Pay attention, because most of these companies are backed by those three. We always talk about those three, and most of these companies are backed by them. But here they are giving direct to the HRC. Walt Disney Company, Warner Media, Wells Fargo. Good times. Good times. So there's some of the funding that goes behind HRC. There's some of the companies that are partnered with them involved. And you have to remember, they're the ones that created the CEI report to help with this ESG scores. So it just keeps on going. So this is one of the groups. This is one that a lot of people know, but wasn't enough. We're going to go deeper. So crank up your oxygen. We're going deeper into this dive, and we're going to talk about a company that I'm not sure many people have heard of. It's called BSR. Let's talk about BSR, or also known as the Business for Social Responsibility. Let's take a look. BSR. BSR works with members and partners in pursuit of a world in which all people can thrive on a healthy planet. Live your best life now. Our goal is enabled by long-term relationships with a growing number of growing member network of more than 300. I think it's up towards the 400 number now. When I was doing my research on this, I just don't think they've updated that. Most influential and dynamic companies. Together, we collaborate to create resilient, thriving enterprises. Live your best life now, and shape an economy based on equity and sustainability. Our efforts are enriched by collaboration with a diverse network of partners and stakeholders, from civil society, philanthropy, I can't say that word, blah, 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 and the public sector. So we're already getting an idea of how this works. They are all about the SDGs, and it's all about creating a network and between the companies and the SDGs. So it's quite obvious what's going on with this. So we're looking at a network of over 300 companies that under the ESG control to promote these sustainability agendas, including the Alphabet Agenda. BSR helps connect the elite investors to the companies and provides data, metrics, and consultation to the companies as to increase their profits via ESG implementation. So this company not only networks the two between the investors and the companies, they help network it, but they also help the companies to reach the goals to get the investors to pay for it. So they're involved with a lot of stuff. I got a little video here of them explaining exactly what they do. Check this out.
A BSR collaboration is one in which we bring together our member companies with stakeholders such as civil societies, government organizations, their value chain partners, to address issues that are systemic in nature, that they don't have a solution to within their four walls.
When we are successful, an organizational change occurs inside our member companies. Some structure, a new role, a new program, a new set of investments, that change is the mark that we are having impact on the world.
Yeah, so you can hear it right from the horse's mouth there. They're working on different programs, policies, and changes for companies to make to fit to reach the ESG goals. It's about helping them not only connect with investors, but to provide the policies in order to stay above the bar so they continue to get the money. So if we keep going on the BSR website, we will come across a section called their focus areas, and they've got 6 of them. And we should not be surprised by these at all. Climate change, equity, inclusion, and justice, human rights, nature, supply chain sustainability, sustainability management. No surprise there. We take a look at these and what they say. I couldn't get it in the screenshot, but I wrote down what it says. And just above it, it says they provide thought leadership. That's scary. That's we're going to control how the company thinks. Thought leadership, strategic advice, and opportunities to collaborate on the world's most important sustainability issues. And we can see the 6 right there fall right in line with Agenda 2030, the SDGs, and everything that we've been talking about as far as bringing in this beast system, this controlling global government system. This is heavily involved with all of that. Now, we took a look at all that stuff. We're going to go ahead and take a look at their members list. Okay, so I didn't take a screenshot of their members list because it's really, really long and I didn't want to go through all of it. So I just picked out a few and made my own list. I definitely tell you guys all the time, don't always take my word for it. Actually, don't ever take my word for it. Go and find this stuff on your own. Do your own research. There's no problem with that. And so if you guys want to check out the full list, just head over to their website and check it out. So I picked a few that I thought were interesting. So we're going to take a look at these. So this is their memberships of the BSR, just a few of them. So they've got their executive members, which they call the Sparks members. It's kind of interesting at Sparks because CERN has an event called Sparks. So it's I don't think it has anything to do with each other, but it's just kind of interesting. It's the same name. Just throwing it out there. But they're executive members. To get into this group, you have to be invited by BSR to do it. And there's only 4 of them: American Express, Coca-Cola, Google, Microsoft. Coca-Cola is kind of interesting how it's thrown in there. But if we look at their members, Adobe, Amazon, American Express, AstraZeneca, AT&T, Bank of America, Bayer, BD, Berkshire, Best Buy. I mean, look at these. Blackstone. Yeah, that's the Blackstone that you think it is. That's the investment group. Bloomberg, Bridgestone, ByteDance, who's involved with TikTok. That's right. You got Cardinal Health, Chanel, Chevron. There's Chick-fil-A, guys, right there, second column down at the bottom. They are a member of BSR. Coca-Cola, Dell, Discord, Dole, Dollar Tree, Dropbox, Etsy, Gap, General Mills, GM, Google, Hertz, IBM, Johnson & Johnson, Kaiser Permanente, Kohl's. There's Kohl's. Levi Strauss. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to the second list. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. You guys can always just go back on a rewind and take a screenshot if you want to look at it further. Here's some more, though. L'Oreal, Mars, the candy, MasterCard, Mattel, Toys for kids. Interesting. McDonald's, Medtronic again, Merck, Meta, of course, Microsoft, Mitsubishi, Morgan Stanley. I mean, look at these. Nissan, Nike, Nordstrom, PayPal, Pepsi, Pfizer. Just keep on going. Salesforce. I told you Salesforce was going to pop up again. Samsung. Oh, there's Silicon Valley Bank. Huh. That's interesting. Snapchat, Sony, State Street. Oh, yeah, there's State Street. Remember we're talking about BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street? Well, there's State Street right there. Target, Toyota, Unilever. If you guys want to dive into what Unilever is involved with, they go from anything from Dove soap to UK-based ice cream. They've got their hands in everything. UPS, Warner Bros., Walt Disney, Visa. And there's a lot more, but like I said, I just couldn't get them all. 3, 2, 1. It's just, you just see how connected these companies are to this stuff. We know what BSR is involved with. And you just see how it just keeps going and going and going. So, we took a look at some of their members. And like I said, don't take my word for it. Go check out the website if you want to see what else is on there. And maybe there's a company that I missed that you know of. And it's you want to see with it involved. So, now if we head over to the BSR's collaborative initiatives page, we're gonna find one of significant interest. So we'll take a look. The Partnership for Global Alphabet Equality. Now this is another one that I've mentioned before. We're going to get in a little bit deeper with these people. Coalition of organizations committed to leveraging their individual and collective advocacy to accelerate alphabet equality and inclusion globally and drive positive change. This group right here is a big one. This is a big one. Now, you may not have heard of this company, but you may have heard the term PGLE. And instead of trying to explain it myself, I'm just going to go ahead and let this lady, Beth A. Brooke Marcinek, explain it from BSR 19. This is from 2019. Check this out.
Join in.
Enormously important, and I want to thank BSR for all of your work with us and support.
We're proud to house it.
Thank you. But this story about Davos and the handful of us that found each other, so the PGLE, Partnership for Global LGBTI Equality, is in collaboration with the World Economic Forum. So this is a group that was formed in collaboration with the World Economic Forum after 5 or 6 years of working behind the scenes with senior leaders at just a handful of companies. This organization was founded in January of 2019. Can you believe that? The World Economic Forum just agreed to do it this January. So we have, they're in collaboration with them. We can use their channels of distribution, their brand. They're now in the mainstream, on the main stage in Davos and into the mainstream of the programming at the World Economic Forum, which, as you know, if an issue isn't discussed within the World Economic Forum, it sends a huge message to world leaders. It sends a huge message that it is not important, that they don't have to pay attention. Now they do. Also working with the UN, trying to get these companies to, you have to have signed on to the UN standards in order to join the partnership.
How many companies have signed on to that now? A couple hundred, I think.
Yeah,
270. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. I knew we would know that. 270. Our goal is to get many, many more, and then to work around the world, both not only in sharing best practices among the companies, but their strength in numbers. So with the platform of the World Economic Forum, the power of the UN, and then finally the strength in the companies working together, where when you combine the economies, the corporate economies of those 14 countries, we're bigger than a lot of countries. So tremendous power. In Davos a couple of years ago, Vice President Biden met privately with those of us working behind the scenes, and he sat down with us and looked us in the eye, and he said, you companies can do what we government cannot and will never do. You have to change the world on this issue. So.
There's a lot there. There's a lot there. And you've got the connection, the PGLE, and the BSR. So you're seeing this connection, and she mentioned it. Keep in mind, I just want to throw this out there. She said 270 companies. That was in 2019. There's like 400 now that are connected to the PGLE. So there's a lot more now. But you've got the connection. She just mentioned it. You've got the PGLE, you've got the WEF, you've got the UN, and you've got the BSR. Those are those are 4 powerhouse groups that are all connected, all united, all working together on this. She also said the combining of the corporate economies involved with the PGLEs is bigger than most countries' economies. So you're seeing where all the money is coming from. Remember that speech by Charles, COP26, where they're trying to bring all the money together? This is how they're doing it. Now, before we talk about the PGLE, who is this chick? This crazy chick that could be Joyce Meyer's sister or mother or however you want to put it. Beth A. Brooke Marcinak is the former EY Global Vice Chair and the global sponsor for EY's diversity and inclusiveness effort. She also worked in the U.S. Department of Treasury during the Clinton administration, and she's also on the Women's Advisory Board for the WEF. Yep, she's on the WEF as well. So not only is she working with the WEF through PGLE, but she's on the Women's Advisory Board as well. So now that we know who that is, and we got a rundown of how all that stuff is interconnected, let's take a look at this monster of PGLE, shall we? First, let's take a look at their Who We Are page. We always get a lot of information from this. The Partnership for Global Alphabet Equality, PGLE, is a coalition of organizations committed to leveraging their individual and collective advocacy to accelerate alphabet equality and inclusion globally and drive positive change. She talked about how there's specific companies that came together to form it, and we get an idea of who it is. I'm not talking about the who. I just wanted to say who again. The partnership was announced at the WEF's annual meeting, January 22nd, 2019, in Davos, Switzerland. The founding members, and you'll recognize a lot of these companies, multinational companies, Accenture, there we go, Julie Sweet, WEF again, Boston Consulting Group. If you want to take a look at their board, there's several of them who are all wrapped up in Davos as well. Cisco, we see them connected to all these groups and partnerships and donors and stuff. There's Coca-Cola again, no surprise. There's Deloitte again, no surprise. Deutsche Bank, EY, that's where the chick came from. Edelman, Johnson & Johnson, no surprise. MasterCard, Microsoft. P&G, which is Procter & Gamble. They're involved with a lot of health stuff as well. PepsiCo, PwC, Salesforce. I told you we would be seeing them again, and Scotia Bank. Partnership for Global Alphabet Equality is an initiative of BSR, UN Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, and the WEF. So again, we got confirmation of just how connected they are. If we keep going on their page, we just want to confirm it again. They are involved with the UN. They're involved with the World Economic Forum, and they are a collaboration with BSR. These are four powerhouse groups all coming together to push the same alphabet agenda, and we're going to go over some of the people who are just involved or who are involved with this company or this organization in a minute. But what we want to do first, because it's important that we do, we want to take a look at this UN standards of conduct, because in that video, Beth said in order to join this network, in order to join the PGLE, the company must sign and uphold the UN standards of conduct. So let's take a look at what those standards are. So in order to get into the group, you have to follow these. We're not going to read over everything. It's just, you can check it out later if you want to. Again, that's why the rewind feature is so great. Just take a look though. Number one, respect human rights. So businesses should develop the policies to go along with the alphabet agenda. In the workplace, eliminate discrimination. So you can't have any discrimination if you're hiring people. Provide support. So you've got to have a positive, good vibes. Yeah. Let's get hippie with it. Good vibes for all your alphabet people that work there. 3, 2, 1. We're going to take a look here. Number 4, prevent other human rights violations. So businesses should not discriminate. Suppliers, distributors, customers, all that jazz, kind of repeating what they were doing before. And then in the community, act in the public sphere. Businesses are encouraged to contribute to stopping human rights. So it's about putting the money where your mouth is. You have to support and donate to other groups as well. So Again, you can go and read through those if you want to get a specific thing, or you can check out their website. It's on their website if you want to check it out to get an idea of what you have to sign and uphold if you want to be a part of this. So that's contributing again to your ESG score in order to follow along with this. Now we're going to take a look. Let's see here. We're going to take a look at the PGLE Gap tool. So they developed a system. They developed a tool. It's a survey for companies to make sure that you're following those standards of conduct correctly. So just like the CEI was for the HRC to score your company, this is for you to fill out yourself and send it in as well. So if you use this system called the GAP tool, it was created for businesses to see if they're meeting this criteria. And just like the HRC CEI scoring, this is another tool to make sure that you are hitting your ESG scores. So I'm not going to explain this. They have a video that will explain it. It's not too long, but this will give you an idea of just how this works. Check it out.
Introducing the UN LGBTIQ+ Standards Gap Analysis Tool. The tool was developed by BSR, the Partnership for LGBTI Equality, the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, the United Nations Global Compact, and the World Economic Forum. This first iteration of the tool provides a learning platform to help companies identify strengths, gaps, and opportunities to improve their performance on LGBTIQ+ equality in the workplace. The tool's self-reported survey spans 20 questions, grounded in the UN Standards of Conduct for Business, tackling discrimination against LGBTI people. These aim to foster equality in all workplaces for LGBTIQ+ employees and the broader community. Upon completion of the survey, respondents may view and download a report of their progress against the UN standards. While translated into an aggregate numerical score, the tool also breaks down scores by category and management stages, offering insights into key areas of strength and targeted areas for improvement. Participants are encouraged to use the tool for internal reflection and learning on how to continually improve LGBTIQ+ equality in their workplace.
Just sounds like another one of those corporate instructional videos, doesn't it? Don't you just feel so much more educated learning that? But no, for real though, it gives you an idea of who's behind it, what the tool's about, and how they do their scores and how it affects things. This is a tool that was developed by the WEF, UN, PGLE, BSR to make sure that you're hitting those standards of conduct created by the UN to make sure that you're staying above that ESG bar. So it's just another tool to do that. So we got an idea of how this works, who's involved and all this stuff, but let's get an idea of the companies who have signed up for the UN Standards of Conduct and aligned themselves with the PGLE. Okay, so this list is even bigger than the BSR list, but it would have taken forever to try and pick some out. So I've got the entire list here. We're not going to take very long going through this, but they're just to give you an idea of how many and who are involved. We're going to go through this. I'll point out a few as we go through, but again, go back and check it out or go to the website, check it out. You'll be surprised at who'd you find. So let's just take a look at a few of these. Let's see here. I mean, you've got Accenture again, of course. There's Accenture, Air Canada. You'll see a bunch of these other ones on there. I'm sure a lot of them you don't know, a lot of them you do. A lot of these companies are behind other companies and whatnot. Google's there, of course, Paramount, PayPal, PepsiCo, Pfizer, all these groups. We're going to keep moving. Again, you can go back and check it out or go to their website. You just take a look at all these things. American Airlines, no surprise there. I mean, who else is on there? Just take a look. Hilton is on there. The hotels are on there. Gucci's on there. We know what's involved with Gucci. We've already discussed some of that. Ralph Lauren is on there as well. If we just keep going, Bayer is on there. Best Buy, Ben & Jerry. Yeah, no surprise with Ben & Jerry. BMW, Johnson & Johnson, of course. Kellogg is on there as well. Intel is there. Scotiabank again. Smirnoff's on there. I mean, we just take a look at all these companies that are involved with the PGLE. You get an idea of of how deep this goes. Calvin Klein's on there, Keuring's on there. They're the ones. Balenciaga, that's the group that owns Balenciaga. That should be no surprise there. Levi's is on there. L'Oreal again is on there. Spotify, no surprise. Stanley Black & Decker, yep, that's right. Your coffee maker is a supporter of PGLE. Carlyle Group, yep. Citibank. It just keeps going, guys. All these. Oh, there's the North Face right there. There's the North Face. Yep. Tommy Hilfiger just keeps going. Just keeps going. Coca-Cola, again, they're heavily involved with this stuff. Deliate, again. Deutsche Bank on there. MasterCard. Medtronic, again. Microsoft. Metro AG. Merck Group is on there. Monsanto. There's Monsanto. Twitter. Hey, Twitter's involved with this one too. Uber. UBS. Under Armour. Unilever again. It just keeps on going. eBay, Nokia, Nike, New York Life, Netflix, Nestle, NASDAQ, National Bank of Canada. I mean, it just keeps going. Virgin, Visa, Westpac. Facebook is on there. There's EY, of course, that's Beth's company that she was involved with. It just goes, guys. Xerox, even Xerox, your copy machines. So it just gives you an idea of how many companies are involved with this stuff. These people are all being pushed into playing the game or you get destroyed, pretty much. It's if you don't play the game, if you don't sit above that ESG bar, your company is going to fail. Your company is going to sink. And that's how they built it. That's how they built the system. These companies understand that in order to play ball and gain the trucks of cash, they must throw this agenda forward, just like the climate, social justice, and all those other agendas. They have to play the game, otherwise they get crushed underneath. And so we talked about the HRC. We talked about the CEI stuff. We talked about BSR, how they're connected with all these groups and all these organizations and networking and helping these companies go. We've talked about the PGLE, how they're involved with the UN and the WEF, BSR, and all that stuff. We got one last stop we're gonna take a look at, and rounding off the tour, we're gonna take a look at the GLSEN. This group is built exclusively to twist and indoctrinate kids and even has a built-in quick exit tool to close the website so kids can make sure that they hide it from their parents. They built a specific tool for their website where you can press escape 3 times and it'll close it out, or if you're on your phone, if you tap 3 times, it'll close it out. It's a way to make sure that if your parents walk in, they have a quick way to exit out of the website so they don't get caught. This is about deception. This is about deceiving the parents and getting and indoctrinating the children. So, first thing on this tour that we're going to take, the first thing we will look at is their About Us page. Let's take a look at their About Us page. We take a look at this. It says, as GLSEN was founded by a group of teachers in 1990, we knew that educators play key roles in creating and affirming learning environments for alphabet youth. This is about indoctrinating the kids. We conduct extensive and original research to inform our evidence-based solutions for K through 12 education. That's right, they want your kindergarten. They want the kindergartens. We author developmentally appropriate, right? Yeah, appropriate, right. Resources for educators to use throughout their school communities. This is about providing as much material to the schools, to the teachers, to make sure that your kids fall into this satanic and unnatural lifestyle. We coordinate networks of 43 chapters in 30 states across the nation to ensure that we have access to schools and districts across the country to reach every student. That's right. They want every single kid involved with this. Today, after over 25 years of leading the movement, GLSEN's national network is more than 1.5 million, with students, families, educators, and education advocates working to create safe schools. Safe. More than 500,000 GLSEN resources are downloaded. 500,000 GLSEN resources are downloaded by students and educators each year. Great family fun. Get your kids out of the public school system. Homeschool your kids. This is something that's been going on for a long time. This is nothing new. This is something that's been going on for a long time. Now, let's take a look at the founder of this thing. It's founded by a guy by the name of Kevin Jennings, and this is quite interesting. Just to confirm it's the right guy, Kevin Jennings. 1988, Jennings helped establish the nation's first gay-straight alliance for students, and in 1990, he founded GLSEN. We've got the right guy, the Gay, Lesbian, Straight Education Network, to bring together teachers, parents, students, and community members and end anti-alphabet bias in schools. Check out the website, Unitarian Universalist Association. He is a universalist. What is something that I've been talking about with this agenda the whole time? It's a part of mystery religion. Unitarianism and universalism, the same, if you want to call it, I'll just say religion. The same religion that this dude follows, that he believes in, is a part of mystery religion. This is the spiritual warfare. This is what I keep talking about, guys. This is not political. This is spiritual warfare. The dude is a universalist, which is a part of, that's the grand scheme of mystery religion and the one world religion. It's about uniting all of these faiths and traditions and churches and religions and everything together. And that's what universalism is. And mystery religion is about taking that base foundation that stays the same all throughout time, from biblical times to now, and it just changes with its cultural system, and it just flows with how the cultural and society stuff goes. And in this day and age, it's the alphabet agenda. It's the woke social justice stuff, and you're seeing it right there. So this dude is a part of that, and it's right there in front of us. This is what I'm talking about. It is all connected. This is spiritual warfare. This is not political. It is spiritual warfare. So there's a lot on their website. We're not going to go through everything, but there are a couple of focuses that I want to point out. And one is their GLSEN's elementary resources. This one might be a little difficult for those who have kids. We got to know what's going on. Isn't that a lovely picture? Right off the bat. Isn't that a lovely picture? This is on their website, Elementary Resources. As an intentionally K through 12 organization, we understand the importance of beginning conversations about alphabet people and families in elementary schools. Why is that important? Is it to reach the young, to mold the minds of the young, to destroy what's natural, what is good, what is God's order of the family? That's why. That's why. If we keep going on this, it doesn't get any better. While many alphabet inclusive schools supports begin in middle or high school, it is critical for elementary schools to establish a foundation of respect and understanding for all people. Couple of the things that they provide: Reading the Rainbow, not Reading Rainbow, Reading the Rainbow, alphabet inclusive literacy in the elementary classroom to see how other teachers have successfully implemented alphabet issues into their curriculum. You want to talk about all the wonderful pornography books that are in the school system? This is the group that's pushing that. And also, our Gender Triangle Education Guide has helpful definitions and reflection questions for students or adults. I'm going to repeat that. helpful definitions and reflection questions for students or adults to think about gender identity and expression. This isn't about, this is just straight up about, hey, guess what? We're going to feed you as much stuff to make sure that your young mind chooses to not be what God made you. That's what they're pushing with this. And to finish off this elementary school thing, GLSEN's National Days of Action can be a great way to begin alphabet visibility at your school. Solidarity Week. No name calling week. Day of Silence. Look at that picture. That picture. Take a look at some of these elementary lessons that they have. That's a gender stereotype. Identity flowers. 3 through 5. Ages 3 through 5, guys. I am me talking about identity. There's Legion for you. Pronouns, little words that make a big difference. This is straight up indoctrination. This is Satan getting to the kids. That's what this is. It is about corrupting the minds of children. And we know straight from Luke that God does not put up with this. He gives 2 warnings. He gives 2 warnings. You do not pervert the gospel. You do not pervert my children. Luke 17:2, it would be better for them to be thrown into the sea with a millstone tied around their neck than to cause one of these little ones to stumble. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just take a guess that the sea that they're going to be thrown into is the sea of fire, even though it's the lake of fire. I have a feeling that's going to be the sea that these sick people will be thrown into. It's absolutely horrific what they're doing to these kids. And GLSEN is a part of it. Heavily a part of it. Any which way possible to corrupt the children, they're doing it. And that includes full curriculum for the elementary age kids. 3 through 5, guys. They want to go all the way down to kindergarten. And this is a company that's been around for a long time, because if you want to dig deep into it, Target has been donating to them for 11 years. They've been contributing to GLSEN for 11 years. GLSEN also has a fundraiser called the Respect Awards. Check this out. Respect Awards. The Respect Awards is not just GLSEN's most important fundraising event of the year, but the opportunity to uplift honorees and sponsors who reflect GLSEN's commitment to advancing racial, gender, and disability justice for all alphabet students. That comes from the executive director. Take a look at the sponsors of the event. T-Mobile, Hollister, Wells Fargo, BMW, Target, Ulta Beauty, and you've got the NBA and the WNBA. Yep. Sorry for all you basketball fans out there. Man, that sport is boring anyways, but if you're a basketball fan, that's right. They're one of the main sponsors for this group. Isn't that wonderful? And now we move to the board of directors. This is an interesting little trail that I had to do for this. So I've already been to this page before, their board of directors page. I was there last week, actually. I went there last week to check out what was going on. And when I came back yesterday, I noticed that they actually removed the links to get to the board of directors. They removed the pages so you can't get to them. Well, luckily, using the Wayback Machine, I went ahead and got to the board of directors page. Anyways, now why would they remove that section? That's the question. Because it involves Target, and we all know the heat that Target's been under for the past few weeks. Let's take a look at the board of directors page. Because of the heat that Target brought to GLSEN, they removed the page because the treasurer is also the vice president of brand marketing for Target. So if you take a look at their treasurer for GLSEN, Carlos Saavedra is also the VP of brand marketing for Target. They tried to protect the names of these people. They didn't want anybody getting to the board of directors to take a look at all this stuff. Now, that's one that everybody's been focusing on, but I highlighted a few other interesting ones that I think are actually maybe a little bit more important. One, you've got the chair of the board of directors who is from the National Education Association. I know Target is the target right now, no pun intended, but National Education Association holds a lot more weight, in my opinion. And he's the chairman of the board of directors. Then we take a little jaunt down further. You've got somebody from TikTok. We've talked about like the UN Halo program when it came to the vitamins. TikTok, it's built for kids, guys. Kids spend a lot of time on TikTok. That's how they get to them. When I was on with Kurt Reed, we were talking about how much time kids spend on their phone and where they're getting their information from. TikTok is one of them. And you've got somebody involved with TikTok. David Clancy of the CAA. Yes, that is the CAA that we talked about not too long ago, who is connected to the CIA, the Collective Artist Agency. They've got somebody from the CAA on the GLSEN board of directors. Yeah. Interesting, right? Then you've got somebody from JP Morgan. And then you've also got somebody from Oklahoma State, who's an Oklahoma State representative. You've got some heavy hitters on that name, or on that board. You've got some heavy hitters, not just the Target guy, but National Education Association, TikTok, the CAA, JP Morgan, and a state representative from Oklahoma. There's a lot there. It's unbelievable, guys. And there's so much more out there. There's so much more out there. I'm just scratching the surface. But BSR, the HRC, the GLSEN, the PGLE, these are some huge, very powerful, well-funded groups who are all connected into a network that is controlled by the UN and the WEF and very powerful elites. And these are the people who are pushing the companies with this ESG type of stuff. All these companies. And like I said before, this go woke, go broke and stuff, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything as far as money and everything. The boycott is not going to affect money. Again, as Christ followers, we must stand for righteousness no matter what. That doesn't mean, like I said before, there's going to be absolutely no way that we can avoid all these companies. We just went through some of the list of some of these companies that are wrapped up in all this stuff. It's going to be impossible unless we go Amish. And so we just have to choose and be very careful about where we buy our necessities from. We have to stand for righteousness. We do. But I just want to let everybody know that this go woke, go broke, it's a lie. It's a narrative. And it's part of the game that's being pushed out there. But these are a few of these companies, just to give you an idea of who's behind all this. So it's basically run like a mafia. It's run like a racketeering group, and they control all of these companies to not only bring in this alphabet agenda that we're talking about now, but it's also to just bring in the SDGs as a whole in all effective ways that they're doing it. There's the 17 SDGs, and this is part of it. The alphabet agenda is one of them. The equality aspect. Every aspect of this plays a part in the elite agenda in various ways, but most importantly, this is a spiritual war taking place. That's what I really want to make sure that you all understand, that this is a spiritual war that is taking place. We just talked about how the dude who created the GLSEN is a universalist, and this is the spirit of Satan. These are demons holding these wonderful, colorful crayons that create this pride stuff where it's all about bright colors. Well, it's demons that are using those crayons to paint, to color those colors. And it's important that we understand who is really behind this. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of agenda behind this that's contributing to different factors. We're not going to get into that because that's a whole nother episode in itself. But we have to understand that this is spiritual warfare. These last days, these end times, this is spiritual warfare. And this is the time This is the time where we're going to see who is true and who is not. I truly believe that this is a time where the veil is going to be lifted, and we're going to see who is really going to stand for Christ and who is not. And it's not just the fact of who speaks out against it and who speaks for it, but it's also a factor of who is staying silent during these times, who is sitting on the fence, because the silence is deafening. And we've got to pay attention to who's keeping their mouth shut on this topic, because we know exactly where they stand as well. Any Christian, any pastor, any church worth their salt is going to speak out against what this stuff is going on. They're going to speak out it in private, they're going to speak out about it in public, and they're going to speak about it in front of their pulpit, for the pastors at least. So it's important that we understand who's speaking for it and who's staying silent, because they're going to reveal exactly where they stand and who is true and who is not. And just like we talked about with the pride flag on The Chosen, because we brought that up on Saturday, and me and Kurt talked about it as well on his Thursday Maranatha report, if you guys want to go check that out. But we talked about the pride flag on the set of The Chosen. We talked about how the creator of the show, the producers of the show, backed it and said there's nothing wrong with having it. Well, not only that, but we have Judas himself that is coming out to defend it as well. This is Luke Dimyon, who plays Judas on The Chosen, and he responded to a tweet where they're talking, where the guy was saying Christians, we should stay away from The Chosen show, just like we do with Target and Bud Light. And he responded and said, yeah, good luck with that. Happy Pride Month, y'all. Love is love. He sure seems like a method actor to me, because that's quite Judas of him to come out and say something like that. We got to stand against this stuff, guys. We have to make sure we're not supporting things like this. It's a spiritual warfare. And I don't know how much stuff I can bring to you about this show to make those who still give excuses to it. I don't know what else I can bring to you to make sure that you stay away from this thing. This is Satan. This is by far one of Satan's greatest tools. I still firmly believe that the worship music is by far, I mean, head above everything else, his greatest tool. This is pretty close to second place in my opinion, this show. There is nothing for us in that show. And it continues to just show more and more and more why we need to avoid it and stay away from. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but I just want to bring this up before, because everybody makes excuses saying, well, if God can use anything to bring somebody to him, that's true. But does that mean that we are to support something that clearly goes against God? God can use anything to draw somebody to him. But as Christians, that doesn't mean that we are to support and watch something that we know is not right. And The Chosen falls perfectly in line with what Spurgeon was talking about with discernment. Discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. This is a place where if you look at The Chosen and you don't know some of this background stuff, you don't see anything wrong with it. It's not blatant. But discernment is knowing the difference between right and almost right. The Chosen is deception, because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, the biggest being that Jonathan Rumi and Dallas Jenkins, the creator of the show, admitted that this show is about uniting faiths, mystery, religion. That's exactly what this is all about. Everything that we just talked about right there is about bringing in this mystery religion that will become the one world religion that will bow down and worship the Antichrist as he stands in the third temple. That when that thing is put up, it's not going to be a wonderful monument for God, for Israel. No, it's going to be a temple that will be used to bring in all faiths to worship the beast. And all of these things, the music, the agendas, the shows, everything is pushing towards that. It's important that we understand the fight that we're in right now. It's not against political leaders. It's not against the puppet faces that we're told to get mad at, that we're told to focus on. It's not about them. That's distraction. Our fight is it's against the spiritual. The demons with the crayons that are painting to the world a bright, beautiful, lovely picture. But to us Christ followers, we understand just how dark those crayons truly are. So we knew in the end, we have the living word that tells us the end. We have the cheat sheet. We know how this ends. We know where this is going. We understand that there's no reversing this. We're too far gone to go back. We need to make sure that we take that as encouragement. Don't let this be doom and gloom. Don't allow Satan to use this agenda to bring you down. Because our Bible, our scripture, the living word of God tells us that the worse the world gets, the closer we are to going home. We have that blessed hope, that promise, that when we see these things come to pass, when we see the signs of the last days, the signs of the end times, all these companies that we talk about, all the agendas, all the players, everything, when we see these signs converge all at the same time, like they are right now for the first time ever in the history of ever, that our blessed hope is right around the corner, that Jesus Christ is going to come and snatch his bride away. And we need to make sure that we keep that mindset as we go through and we see what is going on, especially now in this June when we're going to start seeing these colors get thrown at our faces. Don't let it bring you down. Pray for one another, encourage one another, and keep our focus on Christ. Keep our focus on his return, where he's going to take us up, and we're going to be with him in the clouds, and we will spend eternity forever in the presence of Jesus Christ. That's the important thing. That's why we talk about this stuff. That's why we warn about these things. That's why our goal right now should be so focused on getting Jesus to people and people to Jesus. Because we're that close to going home. We can see the finish line. It's almost there. And now's not the time to stop. Now's not the time to take a break, to grab a water, to slow down, to walk it. No, now's the time to speed up, to put every last bit of energy that we have left to sprint towards that finish line, dragging as many souls as we possibly can with us. Whether they're kicking or screaming or they want to go, it doesn't matter. Our goal is to make sure that they get across that finish line. And if you're somebody that doesn't know the Lord, and you watch this, or maybe you watch something else and you found your way over here, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is, but if you found this and you're watching this right now and you don't know the Lord and it's starting to make sense and you understand what is going on and you don't want to be left behind when that church is gone, you don't want to have to sit here and face the wrath of God, the hell on earth that's going to be unleashed, probably not make it through the tribulation, and then spend the rest of eternity in hell, in a place of torment and pain that our minds can't comprehend. There's no words in the dictionary that can describe it. If you want to avoid all of that, in eternity separated from God in pain that you can't even imagine, if you want to avoid all of that, and you want to spend eternity in the presence of a loving Savior that gave his life for ours, you do it with ABC. It's as simple as ABC. It's a childlike faith. It's a childlike trust in Jesus Christ and the promises and the work that he has done for us. And that begins with A. A is admitting. You admit that you fall short. You admit that you have sinned, that you do not meet the qualifications that God requires of us. None of us meet those qualifications. But you admit that. You come to the Lord with a repentant heart. You know you fall short, and you know you messed up, and you know you need not a Savior, you need the Savior, and that is Jesus Christ. So you admit that you fall short. B is you believe in Jesus Christ. In order to believe in Jesus as a Savior, you first have to admit that you need a Savior. And so you believe in Jesus Christ. You believe that he is the one and only Son of God, that he came down 100% man, 100% God, lived a perfect, sinless life, died on the cross, and defeating death, he rose again on the third day. For you, for me, for everybody who chooses to believe in him. Now, this is not something where you know the story and you repeat some hollow words, you repeat the sinner's prayer, and then you just go about your everyday life. No, this is something between you and God, where only you will know if you truly believe in him. And if you do, and you ask and you accept him as your Savior, you call upon the Lord. That is C. You say, Lord Jesus, I have fallen short. I messed up, and I need you, Jesus. I believe that you died and rose again for me. Come into my life and save me. And if you truly believe, you will be saved. And I pray that if you don't know the Lord, you do that today. You do that today. All right, guys. That's it. That's it. You guys can come up for air. You can take off the scuba gear, breathe some fresh air. You don't need the oxygen tank anymore. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my undersea dive of some of these companies that are pushing the alphabet agenda and controlling what we're seeing out there with these companies and organizations and everything. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you for being with me tonight. Appreciate you guys. I know I went a little bit long. I apologize. Yeah, sorry about that. Try to keep it an hour and a half, but there's a lot to get through. There's a lot of stuff that I left out too, but it's just I try to hit the main points. So I don't want to spend a lot of time keeping you guys here because tomorrow we got to get up for church and everything. So just the usual spiel. Like, share, subscribe if you guys can. Get this out to as many people as you can. It's not about butts and seats. It's not about views, but it is about getting the warning out to people and getting people to Jesus and Jesus to people. That's why we do this. So if you guys can like, share, subscribe, that definitely helps with that. So also follow me, Rumble, Odyssey, Telegram. Yeah, it's important that you guys follow me on one of those backup platforms, preferably Rumble and Telegram or Telegram, one of them, because when YouTube kicks me off again, I know it's going to happen. I will be over there and I'll be able to communicate and continue to do the show over there. So make sure you guys follow me there. Also, if you'd like to support this ministry and you want to donate to this ministry, I definitely appreciate it more than you guys know. Such a blessing. I've got donation links down below, CashApp, Venmo, Give, Send, Go. I appreciate every bit of support. I also appreciate your prayers too. If you guys want to pray for me, I definitely appreciate that as well. So I love you guys on that. Also Vindog on Tuesday, and I'll be with Life Clips on Friday. Yeah, so make sure you guys get to church tomorrow, whether online or in person, doesn't matter. Just get to church, worship Jesus Christ. And yeah, if the Lord has not come by Tuesday, same time, same place, I'll meet you guys back here. All right, peace out. Maranatha.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.